Mr. X with the Extreme channel. Extremely excited. You should be extremely excited because we are dropping 4 videos in 2 days, and then I think we're gonna do daily videos for about 5 days after that. So really excited. This wasn't planned, but so much is happening at the same time, we just gotta do it. Before we get started, my most common question is, what do you do for a living? Well, I've worked for a number of different agencies that I can't say what they are. And I currently work for another agency where I am the head of a task force that seeks out to eliminate custom statues and their manufacturers. So that's a little bit about me. Now let's talk about this custom statue. Mr. X on the Extreme channel here with a brand new custom piece to the Extreme collection. So if you watched the intro, if you didn't know, God help you, but I was joking. I've been getting a lot of questions about customs recently, and guys, unfortunately we can't really reveal where they come from, so I appreciate you not asking. But I just got this piece. I'm really excited. It is a custom quarter scale werewolf. So quarter scale means it's 1/4 the size of what he would be in real life. And this is the second piece I've gotten from this group. I also got the Venom vs. Spider-Man diorama I recently reviewed, and I have a whole bunch more coming. And actually, I think I'm gonna meet the creator of this tomorrow in New York. Tomorrow's New York. Tomorrow in New York. So someone else said that. Susan's chat, yeah? Did you guys watch that? Susan's chat? I don't know if you're watching this, you may not watch that. But anyway, let's get into this. So let's do measurements before I forget, because I'm kind of all over the place, which I'll tell you why in a second. He's very short, because he's slouching over. So the highest point is about 16 inches. Width is 9.5. And depth, where his hand to his snout, is probably about 14.5. And I don't remember the ES on this, so let's do some dangerous stuff here and look. 30. Very rare piece. Only 30 of these made. And I think most people were getting them delivered yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So I'm ecstatic I got them before I had to go to New York. I also got another custom piece. And this guy is tiny. The other custom piece is also quarter scale. And I'm going to review it right after this and post it tomorrow night, Wednesday night. But I think it's like this big. It came in 3 huge boxes. So stay tuned for that review tomorrow night. But this is a werewolf, obviously. I love werewolves. They are my favorite horror character, and I don't know where that love came from. I remember I loved the werewolf in Monster Squad, one of the greatest 80s movies of all time. And my first werewolf movie ever, like scary werewolf movie that my father made me watch, was The Howling, which I had nightmares forever. And if you've seen my other videos, I have The Howling from Pop Culture Shock Toys. I like that a lot because of its because it comes from my favorite werewolf movie, but I like this one better overall as a werewolf statue. And there's a couple things I would have changed on here, which we will talk about when we get into it. So they made 30 of these, and I forgot to look up the price. I want to say it was between $600 and $800 standard quarter scale pricing. The box was very, very small, and one of the unique things, here's some of the packaging. This is the first statue in a long time that I have actually received that all came in one piece and it has no switch outs. Which I'm very thankful for, because as I said, I'm opening another piece that's in 3 different boxes, so that'll probably take me hours to put together. So it's all one piece, no switch outs, nothing fancy, simplistic, yet fantastic. And I like the fact that it doesn't take up too much room. So this is gonna go with my horror pieces. And here's a picture of where I'm gonna put it. And again, you're time traveling, so he's already up there. And we're going to talk about some of the display options when we talk about concept and design in a second. Seconds up. So let's talk about concept and design. So I'm really trying to say so less, and I promise I'll get there. If you remember, I did some horrible other things when I first started the channel. I thought I dropped my mic into my pantsless crotch. But let's look at him. So I did it again. Son of a bitch. Therefore, let's look at him. He's crouching on a rock. It's a basic rock. There's not a lot going on here. And he is definitely in attack pose. He's crouching. He's looking at something below him based on where his eyes are, which we'll see in the close-ups. And he's showing his power. And the interesting part about this is sometimes werewolves, the human mind still controls it. And sometimes it's completely animalistic. This one, I like it because you can't tell. It could be either or. And he's snarling and there's saliva coming down. His mouth is wide open. But he's definitely in attack mode, ready to pounce, ready to kill whoever it is below it. And I just love this fact of it. I think the design is so simple and it's a knockout of the park. And I believe this is actually based off an art print. So, damn it, I did it again. Therefore, or here's a picture of the art print that I believe it's based off of. And I don't know if the art print was the initial concept of this, and then they made, so first they made the art print, then the statue, or the statue is directly after the art print. I guess I can ask the guy tomorrow night. But very, very cool. Design-wise, because he was all one piece, there's really no seams, nothing like that. Packaging was excellent, no flaws. The one thing I do want to talk about on design here is it's almost it's not a completely different statue, but depending on the angle you have him at. So here's an angle where you're looking at him from his left side. And then I want to switch to the right side here. As you see a lot more going on the right side because you can see the front of his torso and both of his arms. And then here's a picture of him from up front. I don't like this. I saw someone else post in a group that they didn't like it either, and one of the reasons I don't like it is his snout is so wide. I think that's what it is. I think that's what I dislike. So I think it's definitely a piece that you don't look at from front on, or you don't display it that way. It doesn't look horrible, it's just not my cup of tea, especially since I don't drink tea. But that's really the only thing with the design. Regarding the paint and sculpt, again, this is my second piece from this company, and I believe this piece, actually I know this piece was actually made at a different factory than their previous piece I reviewed. So let's dive into that, and I think there's some things that I would have done differently. I don't think they weren't executed bad, I just would have chosen a different direction, which is more about the art direction than the actual paint and sculpt. But let's look at the rock here. So cool detail on the rock. I think it could have used a little bit more texture in certain areas. I think they did a great job with the whites and grays and browns highlighting the different textures of it. But I wish it was a little more grainy, a little more rocky, because sometimes, and maybe it's the matte finish when the light bounces off, it doesn't look as rock-like in those certain lights. But otherwise it's pretty cool, pretty simple. There's almost some blue hues in there, and that could be the lighting that tie in with the skin on the werewolf. Looking at the werewolf, we're going to look at some individual things and then kind of mix it all together. His feet here, I love how his claws are on different parts. You know, it's some are on the side, some are on the top. It's really molding to the rock, very animal-like. So I like the sculpt on that. You can see the bones popping out. And most of the skin that you see here, you see some veins that are a darker, almost a black-blue color. You see, as I said, the bones protruding in this reddish brown. And then taking a look at his nails here, it's interesting his nails are similar color to his skin. You typically don't see that, and when I was first looking at it, I didn't like it. But the more I look at it, the more I like it. And one interesting thing is, some of his nails are darker than others. So some are not the same skin color. Some have blacks on the sides and backs. And then moving up his legs here, so his skin has this grainy texture to it. And it almost looks like imperfections in the print, but it's not. It's deliberate, it's specific, which it makes sense he wouldn't have absolute smooth skin. And again, you see those same colors in there, but you have a lot more blacks and dark reds mixed in, especially at areas where his muscles are being flexed or he's twisting. Very cat-like legs. I like how the shape of his legs, both the right and left, really show that pouncing power, you would think. And we're going to come back to the hair in a little bit. And then here's a look from his back. So he has an ass, and it's nice that they have the hair covering up the ass crack, because that's true to humans too as you get older. If you are younger, trust me, it'll happen. Not to this extent, at least God, I hope not. But look at the musculature on this. I love how roided out he is, but it's not too much. It really shows what a wolf would be. Very, very slender, but very muscular. And they use that dark paint, again, in between all the muscles. And then almost where some veins are, you're going to see a lot more veins in his arms. And then the hair is all twisted and tied up and goes up the back, fully sculpted. And looking at the hair now, it's grays and blues. And initially, I was talking to the commissioner. I wasn't a fan of this. I was wondering if we could get it in a completely different color, like browns. And you could buy it as a kit, but I like it now that I see it in person. I love how the strands are all falling all over each other. Looks like it's a crazy, intentional mix. There's also some browns that are in there too, whether it's on his leg hair or his arm hair. And again, the hair is just crazy all over the place. I don't know if digital sculpting has a random button or if they individually went in and sculpted at each place. And then looking at his front, so first of all, his hair is covering up his tiny package, which is great because nobody wants to see that. So I like how they chose, not to put pants on him, but they didn't make it, stupid or inappropriate. It looks really good. And then just like his back, his front torso is really well done. Very slimly muscular. So not almost 0% body fat. And this is where you start seeing some veins. And the veins are painted with that same color you see in between his different muscles and on some of the brown shading. But more veins are even apparent on his biceps. So check this out. It's this blackish bluish hinge. And then his claws remind me a lot of his feet. So very bony. You see some veins in there. And then his actual nails, just like his feet, are very similar color to his skin. And then let's get to his portrait here. So first of all, now what I do like about his portrait is some of the hair is coming out. It's not all flat on there, but it's coming out. And I can't believe none of these were broken in shipping. I'm very happy they weren't. But very cool. I like how his ears are completely covered in hair and it looks good. You would have thought that his ears would be, his skin color, but they're not, but it works fantastically. And again, the different variations in paint all throughout his hair. And then taking a look at his eyes, fantastic job on his eyes, very evil. I love the yellow, I love the focus of them. That's how you know he's attacking down on the white pupil part. Really good job on the eyes. Gives the statue a sinister smile. His snout, I love how bunched up this is. Like I said, I'm not a fan of how wide it is. And his nose is a little big for my liking, but the colors they used were fantastic. The sculpt of it is really well done. That snarl. Then the inside of his mouth here, first of all, his teeth, there's this, on top of that really plaquey yellowish white, there's this gloss that makes it glisten, which makes you think of saliva. So fantastic job for that. And his gums, where the teeth connect in, it's this dark red with some blacks. Looks really good. His tongue, I love the shape of his tongue. One thing I like the glistening effect. I wish there was some texture to his tongue. There's no texture. Typically for a human or a dog or a wolf, there'd be a lot of texture. So I would have done that differently. And then his white saliva dripping down, I'm not a fan of this. I'm a fan of the saliva, I'm not a fan of the color. I would have rather seen a translucent resin of some type. I don't like that. So very cool piece, very different. I like the fact that they're taking a werewolf not directly from a movie. It's just, hey, I'm gonna create a werewolf and we're gonna put it in a statue and it's gonna be out there. So fantastic idea. More people should have done this a long time ago. The fact that there's only a 30 edition size of this is super cool. And the fact it doesn't take up much space. And I hoped it looked good with the rest of my pieces. I'm going to find out in a second because I'm going to go take that picture you've already seen. But let me know your favorite werewolf movie. Let me know, and please don't say the one with the vampires and the new Batman. Can't remember the name. Twilight. Please don't say that. But let me know your favorite werewolf movie. And as always, I appreciate you guys watching. Really excited. Stay tuned tomorrow morning. I'm on my way to New York, going to drop a video. And then tomorrow night, I'll drop the next custom piece video that's coming out. And I hate opening up 2 customs in one day, but I got to do it because I'm going to be so busy. So that's all I got. Take care, guys.